Welcome to this week's edition of Frontline Faith, your source for local news and inspiring faith-based stories happening across the South DFW community. I'm Kayla Rose Marino.
And I'm Seth Rosano, here in the Hagee Communications Center on the SAGU campus in Waxahachie, Texas.
The Fellowship of Christian Athletes held a banquet to honor their coaches, leaders, and volunteers. Here's Seth Rosano with the story.
Here in the Grand Ballroom in the Irving Convention Center, more than 500 people have gathered for FCA's Sharing the Victory banquet to hear from coaches and leaders and to celebrate what God is doing in schools across the DFW community. After enjoying a good meal, coaches and volunteers from across the community were honored for their hard work. Soon after, the Male and Female Huddle Coach of the Year awards were given to Chad Woodard and Danielle Jasmine. Each recipient was introduced by one of their students. Cade Pearson, in particular, made an impression as he eloquently introduced his coach, Chad Woodard.
He's the most encouraging person I know. You know, he encouraged me to do something I did not want to do, did not want to step out my comfort zone, and I mean, he made it much more real, my faith much more real.
The final award that evening was given to Dr. Tony Evans, a prolific author and speaker, who was presented the Tom Landry Excellence of Character Award.
I've known Tony down just from his ministry down through the years, saw him at a Promise Keepers event. The influence that he's had on America and around the world is amazing. What a great word tonight, to influence coaches, that what it's all about, serving Jesus Christ and being the influence he's called us all to be.
Dr. Evans closed the night with words of wisdom for his peers, encouraging them to fight the good fight and, as the event suggested, share in his victory. For Frontline Faith, this is Seth Rosano. SAGU student Samuel Hirsch is a master writer who is using his voice and a beat to share the gospel. Here's Kayla Rose Marino with the story.
I thought I was going to be a singer. I just thought I was going to be a singer and I was going to lead worship or do something of that nature. But after my junior musical and the Addams Family had the lead role, my dad came up to me and he said, "Sam, you're not the greatest singer." Shattered me. But it was also one of the best things that could have happened to me.
With a passion for music, Sam Hirsch didn't give up, leading him to a new way to use his voice.
I went and sat down at the piano and I began to put a melody together and I wrote a rap. And so I went and I took a video of myself doing the song and I put it on Facebook and it ended up getting 10,000 views.
I was destined to be great in my house, filled hate until I opened up the door and God gave me.
I write wherever it hits me. So I always have my backpack with me because it has my notebooks in it, it has my laptop in it. So I could be in the middle of the road and God puts something on my mind and I will pull over and I will write an entire song.
Sam explains how he's strategically inspired by God when he writes his lyrics.
I sit down and where a lot of people, they'll sit down, they'll just turn on music, or they'll listen to worship music and they'll read their Bible, and you're like, this is I'm worshiping God and I'm spending that time. My time is writing. Most of my songs are conversations with God.
But just like anyone in the music industry, Sam struggles with this image.
I've always been afraid to perform because of the color of my skin. That's the reality of it, because I get laughed at a lot, like all the time. And so there's this fear that people are just going to disregard what I say, or they're not going to like what I do because I don't match what a normal rapper looks like.
Creating music alone was never part of the plan, but SAGU helped Sam meet the perfect group of guys to help carry out his dream.
You know, I'm not big into the production side of things. I don't like electronic sounds. I want to create something real. And so I decided to put together a band and we've just begun to play with that.
He's had this dream for a while. Like I know he's talked to me about that for a while, how he's been wanting to put a band together and like wanting to write music and everything. And so to see all this like come together for him and like how he's leading it and how he's, I don't know, just putting it all together is really cool to see. It's just wild. God's opening doors. I've been praying for so long that he would put the people in my life and would open doors, and he gave me both at the same time. It's been just crazy.
Starting the band Token House is just the beginning for this Christian rapper.
Sam is just like the kind of person who's just so passionate and just wants to share with everyone, especially that he loves.
You can just tell that it's like really from his heart, you know, it's very real and genuine and it's different from how most people write.
Studying Bible and theology has helped Sam better his ability as a writer and propelled him toward a life in the ministry.
I think his love for music that he learned in high school kind of came in with the ministry aspect that he's experienced for his whole life, and he just wants to be able to combine the two and do something more and bigger than that's whatever has been done before.
I want to write intelligently to where it hits the heart, it hits your emotions. It doesn't just hit that, it hits your spiritual person. I want to write in such a way, but I also want to write where it's theologically correct. I don't want to write fallacies where it potentially can push people away further from God. I want to draw people to God.
Because he died for me, I return my life.
This is Kayla Rose Marino for Frontline Faith. The year is almost over and graduation is on its way. Everyone is finishing his and her final projects for the semester. The seniors are getting ready to walk across the stage and say goodbye to SAGU as they move on to the next step in God's plan for them. Come out and congratulate our seniors this Friday, December 7th, for the SAGU's Fall 2018 commencement. It will be held in the Schaefer Auditorium at 6 o'clock.
Santa took a few moments out of his busy schedule to stop by SAGU's annual lighting of the campus. Here's Taylor Derling with the story.
Southwestern's Women's Auxiliary held their 10th annual Christmas at SAGU. President Bridges started the event with a lighting of the trees. When the crowd counted down, only 3 trees lit up, but as the night progressed, the rest of them came on. This night had lots of fan favorites.
Well, I always enjoy the music when they have it out here. Getting to hear the harvesters and the choirs and everybody play is really great. And then having like the apple cider and hot chocolate at the same time just makes it perfect.
You could sit and enjoy the music with performances by the harvesters, jazz band, and the choir. Other activities included taking pictures with Santa and decorating your own ornaments. Though you had all these activities, what was the event really about?
You know what, just the camaraderie and just the community, just the students, the faculty, just everybody coming together and just having a great time celebrating the reason, that we're here.
And this event did just that. With SAGU's Frontline Faith, I'm Taylor Derling.
SAGU received a visit from 3 spirits and the image of a dearly departed friend last weekend. Here's Braden LaRue with the story.
SAGU Theater put on a fantastic musical this fall semester with their 2nd year in a row production, A Christmas Carol. The show follows an old, greedy, and angry man named Ebenezer Scrooge, played by SAGU alumni Marcus Hooper, who is haunted by not only his dead business companion, but 3 other ghosts, Christmas past, present, and future. Using makeup, the fog machine, music, dancing, and lighting effects, the actors brought the show to life, and the crowd was definitely pleased.
Very definitely met my expectations. Even brought tears to my eyes. There, at the very end, where there's this sort of, Scrooge conversion, so well done. All the characters very well played.
Ebenezer Scrooge. I really feel like this was the best play that, at least in my 2.5 years of being here so far, that they have put on yet.
Oh, my good fellow, that I have given you for many years.
For Frontline Faith, I'm Braden LaRue.
Coming up next, the inspirational story of a young man as we travel back in time to visit ancient Bethlehem, right here on Frontline Faith.
Selecting a university can be a tough decision. You might be asking yourself, do I want a school that's in the heart of a big city, or am I looking for a calmer, more laid-back environment? Well, students that attend SAGU don't have to choose. Our university offers the perfect balance of both. SAGU's primary campus is located in Waxahachie, Texas, just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, allowing our students to enjoy the atmosphere of a rural town while still being close enough to the big city. Here, you'll be offered a door of opportunity into future business opportunities, an entertaining environment, as well as a great place to obtain your education. Just 30 minutes north are restaurants, theaters, theme parks, museums, shopping malls, and professional sporting events. These, along with many others, are great ways to take a break from your studies and create lifelong memories with friends. For those who would rather enjoy relaxing in the great outdoors, the DFW area offers many places where you can get away from it all and enjoy nature. For many of our students, there is no better way to pass the time than by relaxing on a cool fall or spring day while watching a beautiful Texas sunset. Now, your college experience is not only about having fun. Once you complete your degree, you'll most likely be looking for a great place to start your career. This area is one of the best places in the nation when it comes to employment opportunities after you graduate. Many of our students obtain internships at businesses in this area, which lead to full-time employment opportunities. So if you're looking for a great place to jumpstart your career after graduation, this area would be a great place to start. So, are you still weighing out your options about where you want to attend school? Well, by choosing SAGU, you don't have to decide between the opportunities of the big city and the small town atmosphere. Here, you get the perfect mix of both. To find out more information about the academic options SAGU offers, visit our website at sagu.edu.
The local community came together this past Tuesday to enjoy a Waxahachie tradition. Here's Ben Rivera with the story.
Enjoying the Christmas spirit is what the residents of Waxahachie did last Tuesday. Many came out to enjoy the Christmas parade that the city holds every year. Downtown is flooded with people and vendors selling light-up toys, food, and many of the shops are open for business to take advantage of the crowds.
I brought cousins and best friends and my other daughter and multiple people. We've got about 15 of us, and I just love Christmas and the holidays, so I like that it's at night with all the lights, and I'm excited.
The town came out in droves to witness the many creative, festive, and cheerful floats and vehicles in the parade. Many of the residents return yearly just to experience the gathering crowds and the hallmark moments the city offers. It brings the community together in a way only Christmas can.
Tradition around here for me to support my city, and also I love seeing the Christmas tree lit up. The atmosphere of Christmas movies and also Christmas music, and I love the joy it brings to families, and I also love the stories we get to hear about Jesus.
With Frontline Faith, I'm Ben Rivera.
Come and experience the story of Jesus' life this Friday at the Johnson County Sheriff's Posse in Claiborne, Texas. The event is put on by Buffalo Creek Fellowship and is open to the public. It will be held Friday, December 14th and Saturday, December 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. Guests will be able to take a guided tour through the life of Jesus along a trail of campfires. At each campfire, guests will have the opportunity to watch a skit that showcases a moment from the story of Jesus. There will also be live Christmas music, hay rides, a Bethlehem petting zoo, and Christmas photo opportunities.
The parable of the 5 talents says to use your gifts to bring God glory, and Forest Bridges is doing just that. Here's Taylor Durling with the story.
A defining moment was the one that really brought forward who I was. And my testimony was really me finding out who I was and what I wanted to do. So all that being said, I was coming here to SAGU as a freshman, fall 2015, and I was really just, I was excited. I was very, a little anxious for sure, you know, not knowing what it was I was going to be doing. I'd done, you know, musical theater and band and choir and, man, all the art stuff you can possibly imagine. That's what I did in high school. So, you know, coming to SAGU, I had a little bit of the pressure to do that.
Matthew 25:29 says, "To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away." Forest Bridges is a man after God's own heart. He uses his talents for God's glory and to further the kingdom.
I've got to know him, and oh my goodness, he's just such a happy person, to say the least. I mean, the guy, I've seen him like when he's down, but even then, he's like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. We can trust in God. It's all gonna be good. And then seeing him on stage, it's just so cool. I mean, I saw him on stage before. I knew him real well, and even then, he's one of those people that, when he goes into worship, what he does when he's on stage, it's the same person when he's down in the audience worshiping. it's not him getting up there and putting on a show and being fake with anything. He truly is up there worshiping God.
Receive every bit of the glory tonight, God, and that we would come closer to you. God, that if there's anyone here who's discouraged, God, that you would be the God of encouragement.
Probably I graduated from Southwestern with my undergraduate about going on 3 years ago. That first year I kind of didn't really know what to do. He was going into his second year and he was just kind of like, hey man, it's gonna be cool. And he told me to kind of, first thing, pray about it and see what the Lord has to say. After that, find peace with yourself about what you need to do and don't necessarily feel like you need to measure up to the expectations of others. Figure out your plan, you figure that out for yourself.
I'd mentioned my testimony with how I got to that really, really low place. And I led worship for the first year. I felt like I was doing what was right for the time, but then of course I got to that place where I was knocked off my horse big time and I didn't want to lead worship. I had a very negative view towards ministry. I had a very negative view towards people in ministry. But for me, what got me back up on my feet was one of the chapel worship leaders at the time. Her name is Rachel Simons. And she was one of the first people to befriend me when I got to SAGU. So Rachel Simons and Russell Blackman, and Russell was the assistant worship leader of the team. They were aware that I wasn't wanting to do it again, and I wasn't wanting to do chapel worship my sophomore year. And I think they both knew that they had a responsibility to jump in the game with me. And they said, hey, do you want to be on our chapel team? You want to do this? And they kept asking, like semester after semester. Their influence, they really just helped me to understand, like, hey, this isn't a big deal. Just get up there and do what God's calling you to do. Who cares what anyone thinks? Who cares about the past? Ultimately, you're given these gifts and you're accountable for whether or not you use them or not. They were definitely the reason that I'm leading worship today.
Forrest Bridges has been a chapel worship leader for over 2 years now, and has even started his own worship event.
Bethesda Community Church in Fort Worth, Texas, hosted its annual Christmas concert. Smiles and energy flooded the sanctuary as people from all around the country came to see and hear the Christmas music they know and love performed live. From simple choir hymnals to the hard rock caroling of the bells and even a full remix of We Three Kings, the church's musical endeavors were a success. A few soloists also performed, showing off for this night. The night ended with a boisterous song that got the crowd up and moving.
The Waxahachie community traveled through time this past weekend to visit Bethlehem. Here's Andrew Moser with the story.
Here in Waxahachie, we have Bethlehem Relived, where people and families can come out, enjoy time, and realize what Jesus Christ is all about. A night transformed for families to experience what Christmas is all about.
On a night like this, it's dark and the lights and the fires are going. It's totally different than what it is in the daytime. It's just buildings. But here it takes on a life of what we're trying to portray, which is the historic birth of Christ.
If you didn't want to be outside all night, right across the street, a church put on a show.
Obviously, you have the interaction with the soldiers. You get to go back in time 2,000 years ago for Jesus' birth. Then you get to come here where we have the rest of the story, which is really about the life of Jesus through Mary Magdalene's eyes. And she's telling people, man, that's great that he was born, but they come across 34 years and they learned about what Jesus did, and they get to see the power of that and really the reason for the season, tying it all together.
You will come away with a very rewarding time spent, and you'll want to tell others about it, and you'll want to come back again.
With Frontline Faith, I'm Andrew Moser.
Stay tuned for Christmas music and a night of revival after this short break.
At Southwestern, we endeavor to offer more than the average college curriculum, producing men and women whose lives are pleasing to God, and that's worth everything.
Many local vendors participated in the Waxahachie Market and Gift Show in order to support the community just in time for the Christmas season. Here's Adrian Cerna with the story.
The Waxahachie Junior Service League held its Christmas Market and Gift Show this past weekend, offering a unique shopping experience with over 100 vendors.
The event is put on by the Waxahachie Junior Service League group to raise money for all of their nonprofit outreach programs.
Vendors were able to sell their various products, ranging from clothing and fine jewelry to personally carved and painted decorations.
There's been a great turnout. A lot of people have come to this event. I think having these markets is great for the community because it gets a lot of people out and going and shopping and just getting to know different vendors.
As with any craft show, sometimes you have a lot of customers, sometimes less.
All the proceeds made from the entrance fees, booth fees, and donations will be going back to the community this holiday season. For Frontline Faith, this is Adrian Cerna.
Get your Santa costumes out and stretch your legs because it's almost time for the YMCA Santa Run. Saturday, December 15th, the Santas of Waxahachie, Texas will be running a 5K at 9 o'clock in the morning and a 1-mile elf run 10 minutes later. Everyone is welcome and awards will be given out to the fastest Santas in each group. Don't have a costume? Never fear. You can order one when signing up at ymcadallas.org under Santa Run registration. You can visit waxahatchiecvb.com for more information.
Here at SAGU, students took time to come together and facilitate a night of revival. Here's Andrew Moser with the story.
I'm here in McCafferty Hall, where students are coming together at a Revive Night to get closer with God. From an idea, Forrest Bridges and his friends started this event to bring revival to the campus.
And so we really just want to see revival take place on campus, so it can be revival of the heart, revival of the mind, and all those things I think lead to seeing that happen on the campus. And that's what we want. We just want to give students an opportunity to have some time with the Lord, to engage Him in an environment that isn't so that isn't so constrained by time, you know, and I think that's what this is able to accomplish, and so we just pursue God. That's the goal.
Worship and prayer wasn't the only thing that made this night so well.
Honestly, the rest, after a long, busy week, it was just nice to have a peace come over you that you haven't had all week, and you just found a rest that you don't have other times in God's presence. It's just a great opportunity to be able to stop everything, stop life for a moment, and just enter into God's presence.
With Frontline Faith, I'm Andrew Moser.
Christy Campbell is a recent transfer student who has had a positive influence on those around her. Here's Elizabeth Vose with the story.
Christy Campbell is an M10 leader with an impactful story.
You know, the enemy plants seeds, and I think some of those seeds had been planted in me as a kid, and I didn't realize it until I got older. And I just started making some bad choices as a result of the trauma that I didn't know how to deal with. By the time I was 17, and what really sent me like in a tailspin was when my dad died, and he was killed on the job, and so it wasn't anything that we expected or saw coming. I thought I could take it on. I thought I could be strong and not show anybody that like I was weak. And so I put a lot of stress on myself, a lot of expectations of like, I have to be strong for my mom. I have to be, you know, the support system. I have to be stable. And Satan tried to convince me that I was worthless to the point where I needed to kill myself. And so I was in that moment and in such a place of like mental dysfunction. I was done with everything. The Father just came and like rescued me, and His love was expressed to me in that moment that changed my life forever.
Christy grew stronger with the Lord and began serving at her church.
She loves her kiddos, her youth. She has nothing but love and like a genuine heart for them. And I never saw someone care to that depth. She takes it everywhere.
With that love inside her, God placed a calling on her life.
I was called into full-time ministry. And so I was completely wrecked because I wanted to be a nurse, and I wanted to go into the mission field as a nurse. But, you know, the Father was like, hey, I've got something totally different for you.
She transferred to SAGU and began to pursue missions. Me and Christy got to know each other because we were Mission 10 leaders together. She's super goofy, so it makes me want to like be myself around her. It makes me feel comfortable, and that's not something I get to be a lot like with other people. And so she just had a really great impact on how I view like Christians and how I view like leaders. Christy continues to impact the people around her and is ready for whatever God has for her. For Frontline Faith, I'm Elizabeth Vos.
This has been Frontline Faith. I'm Seth Rosenell.
And I'm Kayla Rose Marino.